Welcome up. Mr. Speaker, it's my privilege to stand in this House today and table what will be our government's 6th straight balanced budget. Monsieur le Président, j'ai le privilège de prendre la parole à la Chambre aujourd'hui pour présenter notre budget. Celui-ci sera le 6e budget équilibre consécutif de notre gouvernement. Our budget lays out a responsible plan that will help New Brunswickers get ahead and make significant health care investments that will benefit everyone. It is truly an exciting time to be in New Brunswick as we are in the midst of a significant transformation. Private sector investments growing, job opportunities abound, and more people than ever before are choosing New Brunswick as a place to put down roots.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
Even with inflation challenges caused in part by our federal government's reckless spending and punitive carbon tax, I do see New Brunswickers who are now optimistic for the future of our province and are committed to building a brighter future for our children and grandchildren.
Hear, hear, hear.
A short time ago, we had weak economic and population growth and unsustainable public finances. Today, we have a much healthier economy with significant growth potential, record potential growth, and sustainable public finances. We've been able to reduce net debt by approximately $2 billion. As a direct result, we have the ability to invest more in public services that New Brunswick's value and New Brunswickers deserve. We have significantly increased spending on important public services, particularly in health, education, and social development.
Hear, hear.
Between tabling our first budget and our 2023-2024 third quarter update, overall spending has increased by 27% at a rate greater than the combined impact of population and inflation.
Yeah.
We have provided more than $370 million in tax relief to New Brunswick taxpayers. And we have accomplished this while achieving a surplus every year we've been in office, while also navigating a global pandemic, high inflation, and increased demand from a growing population. Our government achieved these results by staying committed to strong fiscal management and by considering the long-term financial health of the province for future generations. As a province, New Brunswick is stronger than ever, but there's still much work to be done. So today's budget keeps building on what we've already achieved together as a province and makes investments to help New Brunswickers even more. As we continue to build on this momentum, our investments are becoming increasingly focused on transformational initiatives that will get better results and support a prosperous future for all. Monsieur le Président, en plus de nombreux défis qui se décident de la raison, nous devons maintenant nous attaquer défis liés à la croissance. Mr. Speaker, while there have been many challenges before us, we are now dealing with challenges that come from growth rather than challenges that come from decline. Over the last 5 years, our population has increased by more than 64,000. By comparison, it took the previous 37 years to achieve this level of population growth.
Hear, hear.
Moreover, we have seen also the median age fall for the second consecutive year, and at 45.4 years, we're now at the same level it was in 2016. At 386,500 in 2023, employment hit a record high for the second consecutive year. New Brunswick also led the country in growth in residential and non-residential investment in building construction last year. We're also seeing inflationary pressures ease. The Bank of Canada has now paused its interest rate hikes, and economic commentators are now anticipating interest rate declines this year. However, the effects of previous rate hikes will continue to weigh on the economic outlook, and it's anticipated to lead to a slowdown in economic activity in New Brunswick and elsewhere. For 2024, the Department of Finance and Treasury Board projects real GDP growth of 0.7%. Further details on New Brunswick's economic outlook are provided in the Economic Outlook 24-25. You have that on your tables today. Mr. Speaker, with a projected surplus of $41 million for 24-25, I'll be outlining a fiscal plan that considers our current economic and fiscal environment and invests significantly in priority areas. Revenues are projected to be $13.3 billion in 24-25, an increase of 4.7% over the 23-24 third quarter estimate. The revenue outlook considers the recent growth trajectory we've been on with a view towards minimizing the in-year variance that has occurred during fiscal updates in recent years. Spending is projected to reach $13.3 billion. That's an increase of 6.4% over our 2023-2024 third quarter estimate as our government invests significantly in healthcare, in education, vulnerable populations, housing, and supporting transition to a greener economy. Mr. Speaker, we continue to apply gender-based analysis plus lens to the measures outlined in today's budget and continue to lead the discussion by releasing the results of this analysis. And I'm proud of the leadership role our government has taken to make this publicly available as it helps inform the discussion and decision-making as part of the annual budget process. Mr. Speaker, while population growth has created many opportunities, it's also created challenges when managing our healthcare system. An aging population and the arrival of so many new residents are driving demand to levels not seen before. Clearly, the status quo is not sustainable. New Brunswickers expect, and New Brunswickers deserve, a responsive public health system that can make access on a timely basis. If we are to continue to build on this progress we've made in recent years, we must transform how health care is delivered in New Brunswick. Consistent with recommendations shared by doctors, nurses, and other health professionals, we are taking steps in the right direction. We've started out by working to stabilize health care and build a better system. Guided by our action plan, Stabilizing Healthcare, an urgent call to action, we have identified clear actions and ambitious timelines to deliver improvements to New Brunswickers. Additionally, the Health System Collaboration Council is designed to encourage greater collaboration and to provide a province-wide perspective when evaluating the needs within the healthcare system, whether it be for future investments or for other opportunities. While we're making progress, we must continue to invest in areas that will lead to better services to New Brunswickers and improve health outcomes. Budget 24-25 continues to invest in areas to stabilize healthcare while also embarking on a journey that will see the healthcare system transformed into one that's innovative, patient-focused, and delivers timely access to health services when New Brunswickers need them.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
Today's budget includes nearly $3.8 billion for our healthcare system. This represents a $1 billion increase over the level of spending seen in budget 2018-2019 and represents a 38% increase in just 6 years. Mr. Speaker, the combined effects of a growing population and an elevated inflationary environment are adding to the cost pressures in our healthcare system. While the regional health authorities have managed within their budgets and contained costs to the extent possible, we must provide them with the resources to address these pressures. Budget 2024-2025 provides $70 million to help ease the pressures and help stabilize the system.
Hear, hear.
Building a healthcare system that puts the patient first means building the tools that link patient records across the continuum of care. It means enhancing communications among clinicians and standardizing best practices and delivery of care standards. Mr. Speaker, technology will play an important role in transforming how we deliver health care in New Brunswick. Budget 24-25 includes more than $22.9 million to undertake a variety of technology initiatives that will ultimately lead to better access to health care services, and some of those investments are as follows. $10 million to begin the development of a standardized clinical information system. $6.9 million for MB HealthLink and eVisit MB to provide access to timely health care to residents who do not have access to a primary care provider. $2.1 million for the development of electronic patient care records within Ambulance New Brunswick. $2 million to modernize the electronic medical records that are in use in community health centers. $1.4 million for the My Health NB app to improve access to personal health information, and $545,000 for Seamless MB. That's a digital application that improves communication with patients and their families from the time they receive a consultation for surgery to post-operative follow-up. But there's more. In addition to these technology solutions that will lead to improved access, our government is transforming how healthcare is delivered in the community. Budget 2024-2025 includes $20 million to expand collaborative practices in primary health care. It's expected that this initiative will provide access to primary care services within 5 working days and provide an alternative to visiting emergency rooms. Today's budget will further improve access to care by providing an additional $562,000 to expand midwifery services in Fredericton and to match client demand and to provide the service in 2 additional communities in New Brunswick yet to be named.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, our aging population and a lack of sufficient operating room time has led to longer wait lists, including those for cataract surgeries. By optimizing our ability to provide cataract surgery services outside of the hospital, we'll be creating additional operating room capacity for other surgeries. Budget 24-25 includes $7.1 million to fund agreements with cataract surgical centers around the province. To date, approximately 6,000 surgeries have been completed in new clinics in Fredericton, Bathurst, and Miramichi. By considering new ways to deliver health care, not only can people enjoy life with better vision, but we're also reducing the risk of falls and injury to older adults. We need a solution to cope with rising mental health crisis as well, but we're delivering there as well. Our one-at-a-time therapy has slashed wait times by 60%.
Here, here, here.
The new helpline we introduced for people struggling with substance abuse, gambling, or mental health concerns is seeing strong uptake. 2,000 calls in December, up from 400 when we launched it in April. And we put in additional resources in emergency departments to help the teams with individuals who need specialized care during times of trauma or crisis. While we can be proud of the progress we've made, we know there's more to be done. Si nous pouvons être fiers des progrès accomplis, nous savons qu'il reste encore du travail à faire. Budget 24-25 includes an increase of $7 million for mental health and addiction services offered in New Brunswick. This includes additional space at the Miramichi Addiction Recovery Clinic, startup costs for a 50-bed inpatient residential rehabilitation facility, increased funding for psychiatric patient advocate services, implementation of 3 First Nation integrated service delivery programs, increased emphasis on outpatient withdrawal services for alcohol use disorders, providing additional support to inpatient child and youth psychiatry needs in response to the new Child and Youth Wellbeing Act, additional support to address treatment-resistant depression, increased funding for Portage Atlantic Youth Center, funding to support the 988 Suicide Prevention and Crisis Hotline. And Mr. Speaker, our action plan also focuses on more nurses and more doctors.
Yes.
Every nurse entering their first year of post-secondary education is guaranteed a job. And we've reduced training time with a new 3-year nursing program at UMBSJ, while we've also dedicated 100 new nursing seats at Beale University in Maine. And last year, we introduced a new pathway to nursing that supports personal support workers and licensed practical nurses who are interested in upgrading to advance their nursing careers. In total, our government is on track to double the opportunities to train a nurse. Grâce à toutes ces mesures, notre gouvernement et on voit de doubler la possibilité de formation en sciences infirmières. We increased the likelihood that recently trained doctors will stay in New Brunswick by repatriating 10 medical seats from Memorial University and adding 4 more seats in Moncton. We now have 74 provincially funded medical school seats, and we've seen a net increase of 125 doctors since we took office. Budget 24-25 also includes $1.4 million to fund additional attraction, recruitment, marketing, and programs targeting domestic and international candidates to help them choose New Brunswick to pursue their career goals. In addition, we'll work to reduce the nursing vacancies by offering an incentive program to fill hard-to-recruit positions. Our efforts in recruitment and retention have led to a net increase of 155 nurses hired and has lowered our vacancies by 187 to 567. Mr. Speaker, cancer is the leading cause of death. 43% of all people are expected to receive a cancer diagnosis in their lifetime. With an aging and growing population, the number of new cancer cases is expected to rise throughout the population-wide screening programs that we've begun treatment at an earlier stage, improve patient outcomes, and reduce the use of intensive treatments and reduce the use of additional health resources. Budget 24-25 includes $2.9 million to support screening programs for colon cancer, lung cancer, HPV, cervical cancer, and oncology drug funding. In addition, I am pleased to announce that we are also expanding breast cancer screening services to include women aged 40 to 49. The expansion of this service will mean that more than 50,000 women will be able to access breast cancer screening services, and through early detection, will be able to prevent additional breast cancer deaths. Mr. Speaker, our government is providing additional resources in response to an incident in 2022 involving an individual seeking the services of the Sexual Assault Nurses Examiner program. Today's budget includes $2.1 million to ensure that appropriate care is provided to survivors of sexual or domestic violence. This support will continue to contribute to positive patient outcomes by providing care through a trauma-informed lens and improving law enforcement investigations and just legal proceedings. Mr. Speaker, the prevalence of youth vaping remains a significant concern in the province. Almost 13% of high school students in New Brunswick report vaping daily. Studies show that youth are price sensitive and less likely to start vaping as the price increases. We have already implemented a flavored vape ban, and we intend to strengthen vaping enforcement. As a complementary measure, I am pleased to announce that the government's intent to enter into a coordinated vaping product taxation agreement with the federal government. All provinces and territories without a vaping tax have signaled their intent to enter into such agreements. New Brunswick would be part of the second wave of participating provinces and territories with an intended implementation date for the coordinated vaping duty of January 1st, 2025. Under the agreement, the federal government will be responsible for administration and enforcement of the coordinated vaping duty. In addition to the existing federal excise duty, a provincial excise duty rate of $1 per 2 milliliters or grams or fraction thereof for the first 10 milliliters or grams of vaping substance, and $1 per 10 milliliters or grams or fraction thereof for additional volumes will apply. The excise duty is based on the volume of vaping substance in each vaping product. Mr. Speaker, through our pro-growth agenda, we have energized New Brunswick's private sector. We've seen record levels of population growth, employment and exports have reached new heights, and private sector investment has reached its highest level since 2008. To maintain this momentum, we must continue to take the necessary steps that will continue to drive our economy forward through continued population growth, transitioning to a cleaner energy future, and building on the strength of our traditional natural resources. One of the key drivers of our recent economic success has been our ability to grow our population. Consider that the gains we have achieved in the last 5 years is roughly equivalent to adding another city to the province, a city the size of Fredericton. More people mean employment can reach new heights, investment can grow, and we can increase our capacity to grow our exports. Building on this success, Budget 2024-2025 includes $3.4 million to help navigate different immigration streams and provide newcomer support such as language training and settlement supports through nonprofit agencies in New Brunswick. The support will allow continued investments in our entrepreneurial fund to support newcomers in launching new business ventures here in New Brunswick. To help with recruitment and retention efforts among internationally educated individuals, additional supports will be provided by reducing barriers to certification for internationally trained workers in regulated professions as they transition to work in the fields of expertise in New Brunswick. Mr. Speaker, climate change and the need for decarbonization are leading to transformational change in how we generate and consume energy. This transformation also has the potential to generate significant economic opportunity for New Brunswick. To support this change, our government has released an energy strategy. It's called Powering Our Economy and the World with Clean Energy. It's a path forward to 2035. This strategy aims to further reduce greenhouse gas emissions by as much as 43% by 2035. Budget 2024-2025 includes $50 million to continue the Enhanced Energy Savings Program. It's delivered by NV Power, and this program will provide free heat pumps, air sealing, and insulation for eligible recipients whose combined income is less than $70,000. This funding helps reduce energy consumption and transitions homes from the use of electric baseboards or heating oil. An additional $5 million will be provided through the Energy Efficiency Fund to support energy conservation for non-electric fuel types or to support First Nations, nonprofit organizations, and low-income individuals and families. With energy demand expected to nearly double over the next decade, we must begin to prepare now. We see the growth in new nuclear energy through small modular reactors as an essential element to meet demand and to achieve a clean energy grid. Budget 24-25 includes $12.5 million for site preparation at the Point LaPro nuclear generating station and to navigate a complex regulatory approval process that is designed to ensure that clean, non-emitting nuclear energy is generated safely to the benefit of generations of New Brunswickers. Mr. Speaker, the Climate Change Fund is an essential tool to support departments and agencies as they implement the 2022 through 2027 Climate Change Action Plan. While our government decided to adopt the federal carbon backstop, it also meant that there is no longer a designated revenue stream to fund projects. Despite the loss of a designated revenue stream, I am pleased to reaffirm our commitment to acting on climate change. Budget 24-25 includes $47 million to continue delivering on commitments identified in the Climate Change Action Plan. Mr. Speaker, our natural resources represent a significant economic opportunity in New Brunswick. They play an important role in supporting economic development in our rural communities and driving export growth opportunities right around the world. Investing in the protection and promotion of our natural resources helps ensure long-term sustainability and growth in this sector. Budget 24-25 includes $6.3 million to make needed investments in wildfire equipment and training to prepare for the future effects of climate change. Given our recent experience with the Stein Lake area wildfire last summer, today's budget also includes $3.9 million to help communities and individuals prepare for the effects of a wildfire. Ongoing management of our forests will also support the long-term sustainability of this important economic sector. Budget 24-25 includes $1.7 million for silviculture activities in support of our forest strategy. Through efforts to actively manage our wood supply, we will also create opportunities to see increased private sector investment in our mills around the province. Mr. Speaker, the fish and seafood industry is a major contributor to the provincial economy. Seafood exports in 2023 were $1.7 billion, and the sector employs thousands of New Brunswick in many rural, coastal, and Indigenous communities. Budget 24-25 includes $4 million to support the New Brunswick aquaculture and fisheries sector. This will support investments in infrastructure, innovation, adapting to market requirements, and ensuring that New Brunswick seafood products continue to be recognized worldwide as high quality and sustainably sourced. We value our agriculture sector as well, and this budget includes investments that will benefit the livestock sector in particular, including enhancing our ability to detect disease threats such as avian influenza and African swine fever. Mr. Speaker, our provincial parks continue to experience strong visitation growth, with over 1 million visits to our provincial parks this past summer alone. We operate Sugarloaf, Mactaquac, and Mount Carlton year-round, and offer educational programming through our parks. With the increased demand and expanded programming in our parks, Budget 24-25 includes $586,000 to support park operations and ensure that we can continue to offer world-class experiences through our parks. In addition to supporting operations in our existing parks, we have added the Funday Trail Provincial Park to our portfolio. Budget 24-25 includes $2.9 million to support operations at the Funday Trail Provincial Park, with investments to maintain, operate the park, and enhance the visitor experience. The park is well positioned to extend the Parkway experience from St. Stephen to Riverview and create opportunities to extend visitor stays in the region. Mr. Speaker, our communities are growing. This is creating opportunities throughout the province, and our local governments are well placed to build on this growth. In fact, they play a central role in maintaining the progress we have seen in recent years in developing vibrant and sustainable communities. Through local governance reform, our government has included transformational change to the way we think about and manage our communities. We've made great progress in relatively short time, and it's important that we maintain the momentum that we've built throughout the local governance reform process. Budget 24-25 provides $4.7 million to support local governments and regional service commissions in managing their new responsibilities and providing the level of services expected by their residents. Mr. Speaker, proper maintenance of our road network supports the connections we've made across our communities as New Brunswickers travel around the province. Budget 24-25 includes $2.8 million to our summer maintenance program that will expand our vegetation management program and address the effects of frequent freeze-thaw cycles on affected roads. An additional $1.5 million will be allocated to increase our road striping program. Mr. Speaker, our arts and sports sectors in the province play an integral role in maintaining vibrant and sustainable communities by promoting New Brunswick as a cultural destination, supporting visitor attraction, promoting healthy living, and contributing to vibrant and sustainable communities. The 2024-2025 budget includes $1.9 million for the New Brunswick Arts Board and Musique Indie Musique Nouveau-Brunswick towards grants and scholarships for New Brunswick artists and grants for musicians and music organizations. In addition, $1 million will be provided to the Sport Development Trust Fund for the provision of community recreation and active living communities. Mr. Speaker, our government understands that for people to truly feel at home, they need a safe place to live. The demand for public safety services continues to rise. Budget 2024-2025 includes $6.6 million to address the pressure resulting from population growth that leads to increasing demand for driver testing, inspection, and enforcement services, court caseloads, and increased inmate population. A further $5.3 million will be provided to help make our communities safer. Mr. Speaker, while we strive to make our communities safer, we will also look to accelerate access to the justice system. Building on success in Manitoba, we're going to create a new model for adjudicating child protection cases in New Brunswick. It will be less adversarial, and we'll expect hearing officers to resolve more than half of all cases without a hearing before a judge. That will be better for vulnerable children and their families, and it will improve access to justice for family law cases that don't involve child protection issues. We're also increasing our investment in legal aid. This investment will resolve 25% of all criminal charges before a trial is even scheduled, and another 25% before the trial date. This will reduce wait times in the court system and allow faster accountability in provincial court. We're also creating Indigenous court worker positions to help Indigenous people navigate the criminal justice system, whether they're accused of crimes or are victims of it. At the request of the First Nations chiefs, we will further support First Nations communities by providing $1.6 million to the Mi'kmaq Peacekeeping Program. This community-led program will offer an alternative to the standard enforcement-based approach to public safety by focusing on early intervention, deterrence, de-escalation, and relationship building. Ensuring that our communities are safe means that we must also have first responders when the time arises. In many communities, that means relying on volunteers when it comes to fire protection services. Our government will be introducing proposed amendments to the New Brunswick Income Tax Act for new non-refundable personal income tax credits for eligible volunteer firefighters and search and rescue volunteers. This will help support recruitment and retention and recognize the contribution of these valued first responders. This tax credit will be effective for the 2024 taxation year. Mr. Speaker, past government decisions continue to have a positive impact when it comes to supporting New Brunswickers. We know there are a number of working New Brunswickers and families who are feeling challenged by the higher cost of living but haven't been eligible for other government support programs. Nous savons que les nombreux travailleurs et familles de Nouveau-Brunswick sont confrontés à l'augmentation du coût de la vie et qu'ils n'ont pas un droit d'autres programmes de soutien du gouvernement. With the New Brunswick Workers Benefit, eligible working individuals and families will benefit from a one-time payment of $300 that will give them some financial relief. And it's not taxable. So far, we've received more than 35,000 applications with more than $7 million already approved for payment. Go do it, folks. It takes like 5 minutes online. We know how important it is to make ends meet, and this benefit should help to ease some of the financial pressures New Brunswickers are facing, along with the other affordability measures that we have introduced. We've increased social assistance rates. We've helped clients keep more money while transitioning to work, and we reduced harmful clawbacks. Moreover, we have indexed benefits to inflation. Budget 24-25 reaffirms our commitment to indexing social assistance rates to inflation. That means that social assistance rates will increase by 3.6% under this transitional assistance program and the extended benefits program, resulting in an additional $7.3 million that will benefit approximately 26,000 unique households in New Brunswick. In addition, A new $200 per month household supplement for social assistance recipients and youth engagement services recipients have been created, resulting in $51 million being provided to over 33,000 residents, including over 10,000 children.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
The proclamation of the Child and Youth Wellbeing Act several weeks ago marked an important milestone, replacing portions of the 40-year-old Family Services Act with new standalone legislation that focuses on the interests, protection, participation, and well-being of children, youth, and young adults. Budget 24-25 includes an additional $5.5 million to support the implementation of the new Child and Youth Wellbeing Act, with further increases expected over time as the expanded scope of the Act becomes fully in place. Mr. Speaker, while it's encouraging to see the average age in New Brunswick fall, we still remain one of the oldest provinces in the country. Despite the positive population growth we've seen in recent years, our population aged 65 years and over has increased by more than 26,000 since 2019. Budget 24-25 includes $18.7 million to continue to implement the initiatives outlined in our nursing home plan. These efforts will continue to add to the supply of nursing home beds around the province. An additional $2 million will be invested to help seniors remain in their own home through our Nursing Homes Without Walls program. First implemented as a pilot project in 4 sites around the province, we now have 18 sites approved as of March 1st this year, and expect to see another 10 sites join the program this year. For those families that have a spouse in a nursing home, we have changed the spousal contribution policy for facility-based care to ensure that a minimum of 60% of household income remains with the spouses at home. This policy change will result in $4 million staying with spouses who have a partner in facility-based care. Through the Canada-New Brunswick Aging with Dignity Funding Agreement, Budget 24-25 also includes $7.3 million to support workforce stability and high standards of care in long-term care facilities, and to continue to provide and enhance home and community care services. With continued recruitment and retention challenges in the human services sector, we need to do more to ensure that our vulnerable population is properly cared for. In recent years, we have taken steps to help address these challenges by increasing wages within the sector. In recognition of their important contribution in caring for others, today's budget includes $29.7 million to increase wages for workers in our home support and special care homes, in group homes, community residences, family support, specialized placements, and attendant care. In addition, we will provide $2.2 million to increase the per diems in adult residential facilities around the province. Mr. Speaker, we'll also be proposing amendments to the New Brunswick Income Tax Act to provide additional support to low-income seniors in New Brunswick. As part of our targeted affordability measures, a $200 low-income seniors affordability supplement was provided for recipients of the 2023 low-income seniors benefit. A $200 supplement will also be available to those eligible for the 2024 low-income seniors benefit. Applications for the 2024 benefit will be available once again on April 1st. Proposed legislative amendments will be brought forth this session to permanently increase the base amount of the low-income seniors benefit from $400 to $600. That's how we get it. $400 to $600, with the value of the benefit indexed once again to the CPI annually, beginning with the 2025 benefit year. This will provide additional annual support in the order of $10 million to approximately 45,000 low-income seniors. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, proposed legislative amendments will be brought forth that will provide government with greater flexibility to deliver timely, provincially administered programs as needed, while increasing access to Canada Revenue Agency's tax filer data. Mr. Speaker, record population growth, changing housing preferences, labor shortages have put a great deal of strain on our housing markets. We've gone from stagnant house prices, low levels of construction, and high rental market vacancy rates to market conditions that generally favor sellers and put some households in a vulnerable position. To achieve a long-term level of sustainability, we must see a return to more balanced market conditions. And I'm pleased to note that progress is being made. CMHC reports that over the last 2 years, 5,375 units have been added to our housing stock. Moreover, there are an additional 5,355 units currently under construction. While the private sector can do much of the heavy lifting, there's more to be done, and it's important to consider the entire spectrum of housing. This is why we reestablished the New Brunswick Housing Corporation. In June, we released NB Housing Strategy Housing for All, which committed $500 million over 3 years. In the first 6 months since the release of the strategy, $150 million has been committed to the diverse range of initiatives designed to help ease pressures across the housing continuum. Budget 24-25 recognizes the growing need for safe, affordable housing, and I'm pleased to announce that the New Brunswick Housing Corporation will see an increase of $68.9 million, representing a 54.1% increase over the 23-24 budgeted level.
Here, here. All right.
54% more than last year. We're going to build on the momentum that has been established since the release of the housing strategy, and we'll reduce the NB housing wait list by 3,000 through a $22 million investment for a direct-to-tenant rental benefit to families and seniors who are in core housing need for affordability reasons. In recognizing the rising rents around the province, we'll also increase our rent supplement budget by $8.9 million to support approximately 5,000 rent supplements in the province. A further $5.5 million will be provided through the Canada Housing Benefit that will help an additional 1,200 New Brunswick households this year. This is in addition to the 2,300 households who have benefited from this support since 2021. Another $3.5 million will be provided through the Canada Housing Benefit in support of survivors of gender-based violence. Our new rent bank will provide $3 million to reduce the risk of eviction due to rental arrears or overdue payments of utility bills. This support will help up to 750 rental households avoid eviction or retain new rental accommodations annually. Mr. Speaker, one area of the housing continuum that requires urgent attention is the rapid increase in homelessness in communities throughout the province. For a variety of reasons, too many people in our society have found themselves in this very unfortunate situation. Budget 24-25 includes an additional $11 million in permanent funding to respond to the homelessness crisis through a variety of initiatives. Some of those initiatives include providing operational funding to emergency shelter beds across the province, including added capacity for the winter months, increasing professional outreach services by providing prevention and diversion interventions to reduce the inflow of homelessness, leveraging community partners through homeless hubs to provide one-stop shop access for services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, creating more supportive housing units and wraparound services for homeless individuals experiencing complex mental health and addiction issues. Mr. Speaker, we are also adding to the public housing stock. We will spend $100 million to build new public housing units across the province. Efforts to date will result in work taking place on nearly half of the 380 units this year, with some units expected to become available to households in 2024. In addition to adding to the affordable rental housing stock, we are providing $2.5 million to support the development and repair of rental units. Budget 2024-2025 also includes $2.6 million in support of the partnership with Habitat for Humanity, which will help more lower-income families transition into home ownership. Mr. Speaker, since the early days of the pandemic, the civil service has operated with a one-team, one GMB approach where resources are aligned across departments to access key priorities. This approach is clearly in evidence in addressing our housing pressures. In addition to the above-noted initiatives, that are being led by the New Brunswick Housing Corporation, Budget 24-25 includes $20 million through a RDC in community infrastructure funding to help small communities build or enhance existing infrastructure. RDC will also provide an additional $2.5 million to support pre-construction work related to affordable housing. Through these efforts, we are incentivizing development in our smaller communities that will help them maintain and grow their tax bases, support the development of workforce housing, and increase economic activity through the province. We also recognize that we've had success in retaining immigrants who have come to New Brunswick for their post-secondary studies. However, limited housing operations may influence their decisions to come to New Brunswick, and this is why Budget 24-25 includes $12.7 million to increase the supply of post-secondary housing in New Brunswick. To accelerate the pace of housing construction, we must also grow the construction labor force through the Department of Post-Secondary Education and Training and Labor. Budget 24-25 includes $6 million to address labor shortages in our construction sector. Mr. Speaker, establishing a culture of learning begins in early childhood and, while executed, can lead to a lifetime of learning. Starting early can build a strong foundation among our children, and it's the best way to put them on a path towards success during their school years and beyond. Increasing the number of affordable daycare spaces creates opportunities for children to enjoy experiences that will help prepare them for the school years. It also helps parents maintain a stronger attachment to the workplace and to provide for their family. We'll increase funding through the Canada and New Brunswick Canada-wide Child Care Agreement by $7.4 million. That brings the total investment to $150.7 million for 2024-2025. This investment will further improve access to affordable, quality designated child care spaces throughout the province. In recognition of the important role for nonprofit child care centers centers play in early childhood education, we'll continue to support the creation of designated spaces within and outside of New Brunswick's Canada-wide Child Care Agreement. Additional daycare spaces are an important aspect to putting our children on a path towards success. However, we must also ensure that we offer more than just a space. We must also consider their unique needs. A growing population combined with earlier diagnosis means that we are seeing increased demand for preschool autism support services. We are providing the right, or by providing the right supports at the right time, we can help improve children's functioning and set them up for success. To meet their growing need for timely interventions, Budget 24-25 includes an additional $4.4 million to support children with autism spectrum disorder. By making this investment at an early stage of a child's development, demand for supports further downstream within the school system may be reduced and or mitigated and lead to better educational outcomes. Mr. Speaker, while our recent population growth has impacted our society in a variety of manners, nowhere is it more evident than in our school system. Enrollment has increased by approximately 10,000 over the last 3 years, and it's expected to continue to grow for the foreseeable future. While this is a significant reversal from the trends we were seeing when we took office, it's another example of the challenges that come from growth. We're seeing a growing need for teachers and school-based staff, space, and support services for international students. Budget 24-25 includes $18.6 million to address the challenges that come from enrollment growth. A further $24.3 million will address rising operating costs such as energy, transportation, and other services in our school districts. An additional $1.1 million will be provided to address increased costs associated with operating new schools in Fredericton and Moncton next September. With significant increase in the number of immigrant students entering our classrooms, today's budget includes $2.5 million to support language acquisition and smooth the transition to the New Brunswick education system. Population growth, combined with the after effects of the pandemic, has increased the need for providing additional supports to meet the needs of learners. This is particularly the case with learners with mental health issues, learning gaps, and recent immigrants to Canada. Budget 24-25 provides $7.4 million to provide the services needed to help students attend schools and address their diverse needs. With a renewed focus on the learning curriculum, we are working to reverse the impacts on educational outcomes due to lost instruction time during the pandemic. Student achievement in literacy and numeracy is dropping. Budget 24-25 includes $7.8 million to provide the supports needed within our Anglophone and Francophone sectors to reverse those recent trends and position our students for success.
Hear, hear.
New Brunswickers have clearly indicated a need for improvement in the Anglophone education sector, both in English Prime and French language learning. Based on the feedback we've received, Budget 24-25 includes $4.1 million to begin implementing longer-term measures such as teacher recruitment and retention, enhanced virtual learning, and leadership development among school leaders.
Sure.
Mr. Speaker, effective fiscal management has put our finances on a more sustainable footing, and it's allowed us to increase spending significantly in areas of need and to put more money back into taxpayers' pockets. Decisions have consistently been made to address the challenges before us without sacrificing the needs of future generations. Strong financial management has also provided us with the added flexibility to lay the foundation for undertaking transformational change. Financial commentators have noted the significant turnaround seen in New Brunswick. We've gone from a threat to a credit downgrade, to a positive credit outlook from our credit rating agencies, and the Parliamentary Budget Officer has deemed our current fiscal policy as sustainable over the long term. We have delivered consistent surpluses, and we have reduced the net debt by approximately $2 billion. Returning the debt to a level not seen in a decade. Our service of the public debt is lower than it otherwise would have been and is limiting the impact of higher interest rates. Our net debt to GDP ratio is the lowest level it's been in 16 years, now projected to be amongst the lowest in Canada and the lowest east of Saskatchewan. The lowest net debt to GDP ratio east of Saskatchewan. It's now at its lowest level in 12 years. While we can be proud of these results, we also have to increase spending significantly and lower taxes. We've done all of that. The expenditures outlined in the budget of 24-25 are $3.4 billion higher than the level outlined in our first budget, and an impressive 35% increase. We've also introduced more than $370 million in relief to New Brunswick taxpayers. Today's budget continues to invest significantly in New Brunswickers' priorities. We're seeing major increases in healthcare, social development, education, and early childhood development, housing, and clean energy. Our multi-year plan continues on a path of responsible fiscal management while also addressing the challenges that come from growth. However, I must remind New Brunswickers that we must continue to be diligent in managing our finances. Revenue is not always anticipated to continue the pace of growth as seen in recent years, and maintaining spending growth at the current levels won't be sustainable over the long term. But the fiscal plan I have outlined today reflects the needs of a growing province and recognizes the volatile times that we find ourselves in and considers the need to remain fiscally responsible over the longer term. Mr. Speaker, our government is proud of what it has achieved since taking office. Monsieur le Président, notre gouvernement est fier de ce qu'il a accompli depuis son arrivée au pouvoir. We have navigated a global pandemic, high inflation, rising interest rates, and the challenges that come from a growing population. Despite this volatility, we are building a stronger province. We've seen record levels of private sector investment, exports, population growth, and employment. Our finances are in the best position they've been in more than a decade. Our fiscal policy is deemed to be sustainable and is creating opportunities to invest in transformational change. Budget 24-25 considers how to deliver even stronger results to New Brunswickers. We are investing to improve outcomes in healthcare. We're investing to improve outcomes in education. We're investing in cleaner and greener province, and we're tackling our housing issues, our housing challenges. We are also supporting the most vulnerable members of our society. Effective financial management has put us in a position to respond to those growing needs effectively without sacrificing our financial future. New Brunswickers can be confident that we continue to confront areas of weaknesses and we continue to act responsibly. There's a lot more to do. We know that. Let's keep building a stronger New Brunswick together. Yes, sir.
Here. All right. Great job, Ernie. Great job.